one of the things in the household I grew up in, one of the virtues besides this analytic brilliance that I've described to you, that my father carried was a real commitment to social justice. He felt that that was the lawyer's job, was to build a more just society. And he felt it extremely important that lawyers provide representation and effective counsel for people who were suffering from fundamental unfairness from government or other institutions. So I would say that that was the main source of my commitment. Then in addition, right after law school, I went to Louisiana in the summer of 1965. Yeah. And for a short month, I was a civil rights lawyer in northern Louisiana. And I had a first-hand exposure to the injustices suffered by the black population of the Deep South. I could see where the paved street ends and the dirt road begins, just where the black neighborhood, the segregated black neighborhoods begin. I could see by just walking past them on the street how inadequate the black schools were when you compared them to the white schools. This was a decade after the Supreme Court held school segregation unconstitutional. And the residents of northern Louisiana clearly were suffering from unequal treatment, the black residents of. And that brief exposure, I went down there to try to provide representation to these people in the burgeoning civil rights movement. But I didn't do much good for them, a little perhaps, but it did a lot of good for me because I really had the sense that this was a role that I could play and that this was work that was worth doing. So when I came north, I had that seed had been planted and it was germinating for me. And then when the Rouse case came along, I could see it didn't involve racial segregation or racial discrimination, but it was a minority population that was being treated abusively and that had legal rights that could be vindicated. And it seemed to me that that was where I wanted to direct my efforts as a lawyer.
This excerpt is brought to you by the Massachusetts School of Law, the leader of reform in legal education and a leader in multimedia education for the public. To view the full interview and for a full listing of MSL's programs, log on to mslaw.edu.